ora, Gemini. Thanks for joining me. This is your reading for this full moon in Libra. So we're looking at, actually I've put the cards, we've got the cards out here, just shuffled them up, all of that. Look, it seems like, just an overview, just on the offhand overview here, that there's been a level of confusion here, like for a lot of Geminis, simply a period sometimes where we're kind of going and kind of scattered, feeling a bit scattered mentally, which is not unheard of these days, is it? But especially for Geminis, getting taken in a few various directions. This is sort of it's going through a process. So it's coming really to the end of that period for you. So we come out here, Gemini, with the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is called completion. But it's not like, it's like achieving something. So we achieve things constantly through life. It's not, as you can see with the wheel, it sort of continues onward. In some decks, it's about having a place where you belong and a happy home, all of that kind of thing, the Four of Wands. The double 11 scenario. Achievements. Something one shouldn't forget about, past achievements and current ones. There's been a with this Prince of Swords. Where's my glasses? Well, it's a difficult character, but I often feel for the Prince of Swords. Because we're getting taken on a merry dance. That's what I mean about a level of confusion and being kind of scattered mentally. This is really what this card is about. We create thought forms. They're as energetically real as anything, and often they're habits, and often they're not particularly, they can be self-destructive. I'll just put it that way. And we see here this prince is getting pulled in many and very different directions. Sometimes there's a reason for that. I mean, there's a purpose for it. But we only realise what that was after the fact, after the dissipation or dispersal of this prince. So it's an interesting card, but what's more interesting is the fact that we've got the sun coming up, this vital sun. If I didn't say it before, we do go through and clarify. We've got this enjoyment. It's about enjoyment. It's a new vitality. We're getting enthusiastic about new projects, is what I see. Very enthusiastic. Very capable. I think for some Geminis, getting lost in the prince for a while, getting lost in unfocused sort of thoughts, not being able to zero in on any particular thing. This is coming to an end. And after the sun, the sun's about enjoyment, childlike enjoyment, a renewal, new growth, all of that sort of thing. After that, we've got the Eight of Cups, a level of emotional objectivity. We set our bar higher, and we actually, if you want to look at it like that, and we actually walk towards this gold horizon line that holds that holds two cups. In some ways, this card is about, it's called indolence in the Thoth deck. In some ways, it's about creating a level of distance between what the world we're in, the external world, the things that set us off emotionally. We create a distance in order to seek a new level of balance. And that is what we're doing, Gemini. And then we've got, and it's also about, a level of protection from a lot of information and overload that can set us on a kind of fractionated spin, if you want to put it like that. It is about creating a psychic space between ourselves and the world around us so that we're not constantly bombarded. And then we have the beautiful Six of Cups. Our connections with others, we feel those quite strongly, whether we are in the same place or not. And this is the waves. We're on a sea here. It's a beautiful card, the Six of Cups. And it ties in with the Sun because there is a childlike remembering or a childlike feeling of fun and love and all of that good stuff that we may have become a little bit clouded in recent times. So that's really good, Gemini. So let's have a look. We'll clarify. The Four of Wands. And sometimes we do need a base from which to launch out from, don't we? We need space, a space that's safe, that's our space, is not going to be threatened by threatened. Looking at that Four of Wands, we've got the Page of Pentacles, this in effect a little messenger of sorts in the Morgan Greer deck, but also a planter of the seed. We also have a planter of the seed. We also have the Six of Discs, another lovely Six, about generosity, about the fine line of reciprocity and actually true generosity here, because it's an understanding, it's not an expectation, but it's an understanding of the natural flow of things, that if we are generous without from the heart, without any agenda attached, we know that it's the flow, it's a free flow backwards and forwards. Backwards and forwards. Okay, Prince of Swords. Prince of Swords, please. For Gemini. There may have been a period recently, within this Prince of Swords. I mean, I do see it like that anyway. It's largely to do with self-limitation, Gemini. Those things that, projects we start and don't finish. Sort of self-saboteur thing, actually. We're just about to launch something and then get distracted by something else. This is all of this Prince of Swords. And we get the Eight of Swords, self-limitation, another 8. Got that 8 of Cups. But we've got the 8 of Swords, self-limitation in a nutshell. Can be self-saboteur, as I said. There's only so long that one can be within that Prince of Swords state. Otherwise, it turns into a kind of madness. We get the Hanged Man because whether it's conscious or not, we know that we need to change or shift our perspective, and we know that we can do that. We can do that. It's simply instilling a level of discipline there in the mind, in the active, busy Gemini mind. And so we go into a removal of sorts. There's very much similarity between that Eight of Cups and this storyline and the Hanged Man. Not a lot coming in, certainly not a lot going out, but this is for a purpose also, a shift in perspective. Gemini, let's look at the sun. Let's look at the sun. Can we see? Well, we can see when the sun's out. Yeah. There's quite a lot. Discernment is the key, isn't it? To be able to be discerning when there's when there's a level of overstimulation. It's very difficult because we get distracted, to be discerning. So I'm looking here, clarifying the beautiful sun. This is just gorgeous. Great Nautilus shell. We've got a few too many, but anyway, clarification. You, Gemini, the Queen of Swords. Clarity, mental accuracy. There's not a lot of room for emotion in this because it's pretty much rationale, critical thinking, but clear sight nevertheless. We have members of the watery brigade here with the beautiful page, with a small offering. You know, a lot of wonderful things come from small offerings. But as I said, it's up to our discernment, isn't it? And then we've got the Knight, the swift moving Knight with his cup. Swift moving embodies all those qualities of the Knight. And then the Ace of Swords, the biggest kahuna of truth. We get infused, we get pierced really with new insight and information. We're kind of seeing the sun again, Gemini, here. After a time of quite, a level of confusion, we are seeing the sun. We can be discerning. And we can make a choice, or we can make decisions based on our discernment. It doesn't mean we leave emotions behind. Simply creating a buffer zone of sorts around us to enable more objectivity. Let's look at that Eight of Cups for Gemini here in this reading. Yes, that's right. Eight of Cups flew out again. So this is the guts, the nature of it. It's also the nature of what we value. We think about what we value. We surround ourselves with that. There's a level of integrity involved in that. And what we value changes also, at various times. If we find ourselves, these all came out at once, Seven of Wands, if we find ourselves constantly having to stand up for that, for our, what was I saying, for our beliefs or what we do or anything like that, are we constantly having to justify that? Or is that a habit within ourselves. I mean, this is the question here. This is the magic question, isn't it? Number one question. Number one question. Well, we've got a few too many here. I'll read these out quickly. These just came out, flew out. I'm going to read them this way, just as an aside. 2 of Wands. Knowing your authority, Gemini. Judgment. Discernment again. Natural law. The way that it plays out. Sometimes we need to recognize the shadows within. The hermit's journey. It can be a guiding light for others also. And beautiful Queen of the Sunflowers, Queen of Wands. We find the sun. At the end of this, we can come out and, man, that sun is so warm. But let us, 6 of Cups, the threads of vibrations of connection that we have. With others. One more. We've got the King of Pentacles. We're talking about the tangible world here. It becomes, it's, our connections are real. Our memory of giving, receiving with no modus operandi is real. And of course the King is very benevolent, ideally, and knows how to, in a very earthy, three-dimensional way. This King, as a masculine principle, goes out there and gets things done. Goes out there and gets things done in a way that, ideally benefits other people as well. There's a distinct connection which has kind of passed through and gone again in my head, between these two cards. And, it could be something about, the father, a father figure in your life. I don't know. For some Geminis, maybe it was something to do with that. Then we've got the Knight of Pentacles, managing, distributing. A great manager, this card. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of things actually going on towards the end of this reading, which we'll just leave it at that. Let's get a Brian Froud, Pixie and Fairy, please. Just for one little glimmer for Gemini here of glimmer. Quite a nice glimmer. We've got Gemini Shapeshifter on the back, the pook. Okay, the Oak Men. I just hear this thing like, you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders, Gemini. The Oak Men, it's about wonderful, again, connections through the root system, through the emotional waters here. Connections, communications. But this is old. It's old knowledge. It's old history. It's knowledge that you hold within yourself. It's beautiful. And again, connected to life force that animates all of us. Plant, animal, and human, fish, whatever, insect. Fairy that was kissed by the pixies. Ending on a pretty high note, Gemini. So on that note, that's your reading. Hope you got something from that today, and have a wonderful full moon time, and we'll see you next time. Gemini, ka kite, bye.